This week, we studied product lighting in preparation for Project 1. I was teamed up with Faramia and Elizabeth, and we chose headphones as our tester product. Our first setup was against a white background with a softbox on the left and a Goddess with barn doors on the right. We also used a warm tube light. To get the headphones to stand up, we used tape. For our second setup, we used a Nanlite Pro 60C set to blue at a low 45-degree angle. For our third setup, we used an LED panel and a Nanlite Pro 60C set to purple. For each shot, our camera was set to manual, autofocus, shutter speed 1/50th, f-stop 2, and ISO 100. This week in lighting and cinematography, we learned about file organization and the basics of starting a project in Adobe Premiere Pro. You start by making a new folder, and within that folder, you make subfolders titled Export, A-Roll, B-Roll, Graphics, Music, and Sound Effects. Next, open a new project in Premiere Pro, name the file, choose the correct location for saving the file, then click Create. After creating the file, select the assets you'd like to start with. After importing, the editing panel will pop up. Drag the assets onto the timeline, visuals on the top and audios on the bottom. And there you go! You just started your first Premiere Pro project. When filming video, white balance ensures your colors are accurate by measuring color temperature in Kelvin. Around 3000 K gives you warm tones, like tungsten lighting, while 5600 K matches cool daylight. To set white balance, use the white side of a gray card. Just position it where your subject will be and calibrate your camera to it. Exposure determines how bright or dark your image appears. To nail your exposure, flip that same gray card to its gray side, which is calibrated to middle gray. The standard reference point for proper exposure. Position the gray side where your subject will be and adjust your camera settings until the gray appears correctly exposed. Both settings are crucial. White balance makes sure your white looks truly white, not yellowish or bluish, while proper exposure ensures you're capturing the right amount of light for a well-balanced image. The gray card is your simple but powerful tool for getting both exactly right.
And this week in lighting and cinematography, we played around with a Canon C70 cinema camera. Cinema cameras have a shutter angle as well as shutter speed. This is how you set it to shutter angle. On page 4 of the first menu, we can choose autofocus, continuous. Here we put face detection on. On face autofocus, we can choose face priority. In this menu, we choose PT709. There is a wide and there is also a standard. On the home screen, there are settings for white balance, f-stop, ISO, and shutter angle. We're at 5600 Kelvin. The f-stop can be set here. The Canon C70 has a native ISO of 12,800 and extended ISO of 25,600. Here is the spot to adjust the shutter angle now that we have it set to shutter angle. That was a basic intro to the C70.